Hello everybody and welcome back to the Hype Energy F3 AOR League. This is the PS4 League and round number 16 takes us to the Sochi Autodrome for the Russian Grand Prix. My name is Kieran McGinley and joining me in the commentary booth as always is Austin Smith. Austin, how are you tonight?
I am doing great, Kieran. How are you doing?
Yeah, not too bad. I mean, we would make our typical Russian jokes, but I think Austin's got a hold on that one.
We'll leave it for qualifying or the race.
Sure, why not? But yeah, Austin and I were discussing the championship battle just before the stream was starting, and we're sort of thinking that it's becoming a bit of a three-horse race, Austin.
Yes, Demon, Sergey, and Dan are only 20 points separated from each other. Demon at 219, Sergey at 206, 13 points behind, and then another 7 to Dan. Behind that, there's a 51-point gap between Dan and Pip Matt in 4th place. So quite a big distance. And for me personally, the way I always look at championship races is whether a driver is able to win it under their own power. Which means if they win and whoever is the championship leader always gets second, the best he could do behind that, is he able to win? That would be for the last 6 races, 42 points, because between the winner and the second place you get 7 times 6, an easy 42. And Pip Matt is 71 points behind Demon, so he would not be able to win under his own power. He needs the quote-unquote help from Demon, Sergey, and Dan making mistakes, and maybe the help from other drivers in the field to finish ahead of these 3 to gain more points, and he probably pretty much needs to win all races from here on out to really have a realistic chance of still winning the championship and even getting involved in the battle between the top 3.
Yeah, absolutely, and it is so close at the top there with Dan coming back throughout the field, and you've also got that constant battle between Sergey and Demon as we head towards the latter stages of the championship battle. 3 tyres available for this race: the Hypersofts, the Ultra Softs, and the soft tyres. We skip out the Super Softs once again. And pit stop strategy, Austin. That the Hypersoft seems to last a good distance around this track. Around about laps 7 to 10, we're expecting the pit window to open.
Yes, the Sochi Autodrome is probably one of the most tire-saving tracks. That a hypersoft tire lasts that long. I don't think we've seen that at any point this season so far. Maybe Monaco, but Monaco is an exception in and of itself. So it is very, very unusual, very tire-saving track here. And it is definitely a one-stop, 100%. Even the good thing is, even if you are involved in some lap 1 incident and you have to change your front wing, you can still do a one-stop because the hardest compound tire here, the soft, lasts so long that you can really run the whole race with it. If you're starting on the Hypersoft and you go in it, or even the Ultra Soft, and you go into the pits lap 1, you can finish the race on the softs.
Yeah, and that is looking forward to turns 1 and 2, probably the action zones for lap number 1. You have to be very careful through there because one twitch, one loss of control, and you could wipe out half the field.
Yeah, turn 1 is a very difficult one because turn 1 goes full speed, but it's tricky because it feels like it's getting narrower towards the end. I don't think it really does, but it feels like it. But at the same time, it's a blind corner because the pit exit wall pretty much blocks your view of the exit, and so you're running blind into it. And if there is an incident further up ahead on the exit of turn 1, you might not see it and you might run just straight into another car and we might see carnage.
Absolutely. Here we are then with Francis as he makes his way towards the start finish line now, heading towards turn number 1, this flat right-hander here, as he now makes his way down towards turn 2. A good overtaking opportunity for this one, but really you have to be side by side, braking hard then for turn 2. And this left-hander here doesn't count as a corner, and now we head towards the long left-hander of turn number 3. We've seen some drivers try and brave it round the outside in previous seasons, as we now head down towards turn 4. Heavy braking here, try not to end that as Raikkonen and Bottas did all those years ago. Heading now to the end of sector 1 in towards turn 5, and now you're coming towards a series of right angle corners now as we head through the kink of turn 6 and now towards turn 7, braking at the 50-metre board, chucking the car in. You have to really use those orange sleeping policemen on the curbs. They will drag the car in as we head through the double left-hander of 8 and 9 as we now head towards the right-hander of turn 10, braking at the 100-metre board. And that 100-metre board is also where the detection zone is for this second DRS zone that curves through turn 11 and then curves through turn 12. And once you really get to the exit of turn 12, you go straight into the braking zone for turn 13. And it's a really tight twisting section now as we head through turn 14 and now heading our way towards turn 15. 90-degree corners from here on in. 15 and 16, a good chance to try and size up and move now as you head towards turn 17, and really important to get the rear tyres working as we head now to the final 2 corners, the final 2 right-handed corners as we make our way towards the start finish line very early on in the lap. And that's a 1:30.5 from Francis.
Yeah, pretty decent lap. He made a mistake, I think in turn 5, went a little wide there, but the lap was not invalidated because, well, he lost more time than he gained, and so that definitely helped him at least have a lap time, and he's still first after the first few laps are coming in. Now Demon taking provisional pole with a 1:30.1. I was just waiting for someone to improve by quite a bit more there, but it seems like everyone's having a bit of a struggle early on in this session, except for Demon apparently. I mean, almost half a second now. Pip Matt in second. I mean, Pip Matt is trying to stay within this championship fight, at least for now. 30.3, really good lap from him. I think we're gonna see 29s though. The track is only gonna get better. The tires are gonna improve for some of the drivers. We see Drez, Cronexus, Sergi still on the ultra softs, not the softest compound. There is the hyper soft available in, well, it should be a pink, but it is more of a white really. And at least in the graphic on the left side, if you look at the car and the actual tire, it is more of a pink really. But pretty hard to distinguish. I'm very happy that we don't see the Hypersoft and the medium ever in the same race, because that would be very confusing.
Absolutely. There's Louis then making his way on towards the lap. We haven't seen him for a while, but he's finally back for the Russian Grand Prix as he makes his way now through that double left-hander of 8 and 9, coming towards turn 10. Obviously you've got the 2 DRS zones, the first one after turn 1 on your way down towards turn 2, and the second one here is what Louis is going through now, going through the left-hander of turn 11, the right-hander, sorry, of turn 11, then into the left-hander of turn 12, and you can see there, very difficult braking zone. As you can see there, Louis loses the back end of the car. So easy to do. It's so easy to try and carry too much speed going through turn 13, and of course you light up the rear tyres and you go straight around.
Yeah, we've seen that right there. It is a very twisty section here, starting at turn 13 and then all the way to the finish line. And it is the sector where you can gain the most ERS, where you can harvest the most ERS and save the most as well. But it's also a section where you can overtake into turn 18, maybe 19 if you need to, if you really want to force the issue. Maybe on the last lap. I think there is one opportunity there, turn 18. If I'm hoping that we see a big fight, maybe for the win, coming down to the second last, maybe the last corner.
But here's the Roadhouse then coming on to his flying lap. Hello to everyone in the chat there. We've got Wizbrood flying the flag for gigs here tonight, as is Tom Musics. Great to see you in the chat, guys. As well as that, Nick Spencer saying, go Roadhouse, who's currently on a flying lap in that McLaren. And the McLarens have been pretty consistent in the points this season, Austin, but a sort of issue of what might have been?
Yeah, it seems so. I mean, not a single podium so far this season for the McLarens. Roadhouse, best result was 4th. Solid Ninja Snake, P6. I think they do have quite a bit more potential in them, but it's still pretty interesting to see both of them doing, well, quite well in terms of consistency at least. Maybe they have to try to find some more speed, some more ability in terms of raw pace instead of just a consistency. I think they don't have any issue there. Maybe it's the qualifying pace that they're lacking, that they do not qualify well and therefore they are a little bit hampered in the race. I cannot tell you what the exact issue with them is, but I think if they keep on improving and they keep that consistency at the same time, we might be in for some interesting things for Roadhouse and Solid Ninja Snake next season.
Yeah, Roadhouse puts it up to P6 there, 7/10 off the lead. Dan the Snake then, as he makes his way in towards the pit lane. Obviously, we keep saying it's a 3-horse race, and it helps Toro Rosso massively that they've got both drivers in the title fight, because it means they're scoring plenty of constructors' points.
Yeah, at this point they are 187 points ahead of Haas in 2nd place. Which means, let me think right now, I think they might actually be able... No, I think they might not be able to clinch the Constructors title this race. I think if everything goes well for them today, they might be able to clinch it at Suzuka. I might be wrong actually. Hold on.
Well, remember that
they can clinch it today. 43 times 5 is 215. They need to outscore Haas by 28 points today. That is definitely possible. 29 probably, because if Haas wins... no, actually, no, 28 would be enough. So if they outscore Haas by 28 points today, so a win and then 3 points, which means, let's say, Demon wins, Dan gets 2nd, Sergey gets 3rd, and Dres doesn't score a single point. That would mean exactly 28 points. It's not that impossible. I think there's a chance, really.
There is a chance, but well, Demon there laying the gauntlet down, and as you said, Austin, you're expecting 129s. Demon's just come up with one, 129.940 is provisional pole time. Interestingly, Alex Musica 130.6 on a set of ultra soft tyres. Now that's not something to turn your nose up at. That is a good time on those ultra soft tyres. Dres there 131.0, currently inside the top 10. And the way these hypersoft tyres actually do last, I am expecting a few more drivers to actually set their fast lap time on those hypersofts.
Yes, definitely. The hypersoft are the way to go here if you want to make it into the top 10. If you're saying, you know what, I'm just going to watch turn 1 and 2 from the back, you can just run on the ultrasofts, try to get a good position inside, just outside the top 10, maybe 11th, 12th, try to shoot for that. But on this track, why would you? It's a one-stop for everyone, hypersoft to ultrasoft. There's no issues in terms of tire wear, in terms of keeping the tires in a working range, in terms of temperatures. You would just waste potential if you decide to qualify on the ultrasoft. So I'm pretty sure Alex Musica, Sergey, Dan, we will see all 3 of them come out on the hypersofts within the last 6 minutes and just try to throw the kitchen sink at it and get inside the top 10 for a good starting position.
Pit Matt now has pipped Demon to pole for now. I love using that pun. 129.756 currently on provisional pole position. Giggs, Jamie James and Dan the Snake yet to set lap time with 5 minutes and 50 seconds on the clock. There is Dan the Snake there on a set of ultra soft tyres going through turn 5 as he makes his way towards turn 6 and turn 7. Hopefully we can stay with Dan the Snake for the entire lap here as he now makes his way towards the double left-hander of 8 and 9 as now he makes his way towards the right-hander of turn 10. He's got to be careful with those track limits. Very easy to run wide and invalidate your lap time, as I believe that was Chrome Nexus climbing up to 8th place there.
He did. This lap time is invalidated.
So that's hard for Dan the Snake then, when he makes his way down towards that heavy braking zone, that tricky braking zone of turn 13. And I wonder if he's just going to dive straight back into the pits and just put on a set of hyper soft tyres.
There's still too much time though. It's still 5 minutes. I think. Ooh, whoa, that was a slide there. Turned 15 and 16 out of 15. Yeah, he's gonna stay out. It is a little bit too early. He wants to run another lap. Oh no! Oh whoa! He misses the pit entry, then decides to change his mind. That was probably an in moment right there for Dan the Snake. But he does come into the pits. But yeah, again, I think he could have done another lap and just, you know, try to see what he can do on the ultra stuff to get a banker time in. But now he has to wait pretty much. I would say it's probably best to wait another 2 minutes and a bit. So you go out at about 2:15, 2:10 maybe. Lap time here 1:29, 1:30 as you see. So I mean, you can pretty much calculate with 90 seconds here. Then leaving the pits probably another 10 seconds, and you've got 1:40, and then you want to add a little bit of buffer, you know, because you don't want to run the out lap like it was your hot lap, because that might put the tires at a risk, wear them out too much, maybe overheat them if you're really going too hard at it, and your power sliding, which obviously you should never do in an F1 car, but it might happen, especially in some of these corners. So, yeah, I think 2:10, 2:15, 2:20 is probably the perfect time to get out on the track and to have the best conditions for your one-time lap at the end of the session.
Dres here on some hypersoft tyres, tiptoeing his way through turn 14 as he makes his way towards 15 and decides to cut the corner. And I think he invalidated that lap early on, or he wasn't happy with it. He's going to come straight into the pits. With Dan the Snake, though, if he takes that line during the race, he's going to be punished heavily for that, because that will not be allowed during the race.
Yes, but he is on the outlap, so he can do that. It is allowed, as far as I know, for the drivers to cut corners on the outlap in sectors 1 and 2. If you do it in sector 3, your next lap will be invalidated automatically by the game. If you do it in sectors 1 and 2, no issue, it's just an outlap. But if you do it in sector 3, you are punished with basically another outlap. So yeah, don't do that. But it's in turns 1 and 2, in sector 1, you can definitely do that. You shouldn't, but it is, let's say it is possible. But Dan the Snake, I've looked at him when he went out of the pits. It was 3 minutes 30 almost. Like, he went pretty much straight back out as Jamie James puts his car in 6th place and then retires from the session. So he seems happy with it. But Dan the Snake, very early, I think he's going to try to go for 2 runs here, 2 laps in a row, as he does start the first one right now with 1:55 left. So he will have enough time for his second one. He will come across the line with around 25 seconds left. My God, I can't speak anymore. As he goes into turn 2, and he got that nicely this time. The long left-hander of turn 3, very long, almost never-ending. I like to call it the carousel personally, because it's just so long and so yeah, like a circle, really.
Well, it's not quite banked. Nothing will ever match the carousel like that, surely. But Well, down the
Okay.
snake, yeah. Down the snake, then flying through turn 8 and 9 as he makes his way towards turn 10. With a minute to go, Pit Matt is on provisional pole position with a 1:29.756. Looking in the chat there, Sergey is saying that he's got a random setup and it's impossible to race, so we'll have to keep an eye on him when we get to the race part of it. And M&T Leclerc saying go Giggs. A lot of support for Giggs tonight. Currently yet to set a lap time in 16th place. We'll have to keep an eye and see what he can do. As you can see there, Francis and Apex getting well out of the way of Dan the Snake then, as he now makes his way through 15 and 16, making his way now towards turn 17. Looking out for his braking point there. No braking markers on the left-hand side. You really have to pick your reference point well there. It's a tough corner to get right, and Dan the Snake comes across the line, and it's P6.
Yes,
Love
but
it,
he has
Dan.
another lap. Don't forget, he is still on the hot lap mode in ERS. Now overtake, which is obviously better on the straight. So he is still going for another lap as Elite Game Boy has retired in P5. So Dan trying to get him at least 30.5. Probably not a lap time he is happy with. So we'll see how it goes. Giggs, meanwhile, was on an out lap, his previous lap. Now he's on his final run because time has just expired. Sergey in the pits will start at least from 16th if Giggs sets any lap time better than 1:31.9, which he should be able to do. He will put Sergey to last and 17th place. Solid Ninja Snake in 15th for now. Roadhouse 12th. Alex Musica down to P9. He's probably hoping that he drops out of the top 10.
Sorry to cut you off there, Austin. Apex there, pushing hard. And, collected there by the Toro Rosso.
Dan.
It's Dan the Snake as well. And he was on the racing line. He'd lost the car. And, well, Apex and Dan the Snake have collided. Then going nowhere higher than P3 and P7, respectively. Francis then making his way towards turn 12. But he's backed off. He has backed off, so he won't be setting a lap time. Demon then is into the pits. And I think, actually, Francis got
Everyone has backed off.
Everyone has backed off. So Mike into the pits then. Drez is off the track then. I wonder... I did see some contact between Francis and someone else. I wonder if it was Drez there. But as everybody has either come into the pits or taken the checkered flag, it's going to be Pit Matt who's on pole position for the Russian Grand Prix.
Yes, and it couldn't have come at a more crucial time. We talked about it, 71 points of a gap to Demon. And he needs to do everything he can. He needs to win at least this race, probably some more, to get involved in this title fight once again. 71 points, quite a big gap. And, well, he did his part for now. Now he needs to translate it into the race.
Well, let's have a look at the qualifying positions then for the Russian Grand Prix. So Pit Matt is on pole position, Demon in second, Apex third, Francis in fourth, Alex 25th, Elite Game Boy in sixth, Dan the Snake in seventh, Jamie James in eighth, Mike Tynus in ninth, with Alex Musica in 10th, starting on those ultra soft tyres. Then it's Chrome Nexus in 11th place, Roadhouse in 12th, Louis in 13th, Drez in 14th, Solid Ninja Snake in 15th, Sergey with his odd setup is down there in 16th, and Giggs did not get to sell a lap time during the qualifying session. So really, Dan the Snake down in P7, Sergey down in P16, with Demon starting on the front row. Surely he's got to take advantage of this.
He has to, but he has to watch out for turns 1 and 2, especially turn 2, I think, because for turn 1 he's way too far up ahead. I think if there's anything happening, it would be further down the order, probably somewhere between P5 or 6 and then all the way down to P14, 15, where there might be an incident in turn 1. But turn 2, very heavy braking zone. And the last thing you want to see on an F1 track is a very heavy braking zone right after the start. Ideally, you want to see more of a Australia turn 1, which is not as heavy. You know, you're driving there like 3rd, 4th gear. This right here, I think 2nd gear, so really slow, like almost comparable to Monza turn 1. Not as slow, but comparable, let's say. So always tricky, maybe comparable even to Belgium, to La Source, the hairpin, which obviously also very slow. And this might get very tricky, but we're hoping. The good news for every driver is a lot of runoff areas there. Not in turn 1, but turn 2, lots and lots of runoff area.
Yeah, well, Pitmat then sets off on the formation lap, leading the cars. He will be leading them through turn 1, and will he be leading the race as we head down towards turn 2 there? As you say, Austin, it's going to be a little bit tricky. If one person looses the back end slightly, we could see a Constantina effect because the walls are so close as we run through turn 1 and on the run down to turn 2. Let's hope that doesn't happen. But for the drivers like Sergey and Giggs, who didn't get to qualify, obviously they will be setting themselves on a fresh set of tyres, and Sergey down there on the Hypersofts with Giggs on the Ultrasoft. Everybody else outside the top 10 then, Crow Nexus on Hypersofts, as is the Roadhouse in P12 and Louis in P13. Drez there in 14th place on the Ultrasoft tyres, Solid Ninja Snake in the other McLaren in 15th, starting on some Hypersoft tyres. Of course, the top 10 have to start on the tyres they qualified on, and instantly you can see there's a divide between the pit strategies. Those that are starting on the Hypersofts, the pit window for them opens on lap number 7 and closes on lap number 10, switching on to the Ultrasofts, which should get you to the end of the race. But for Alex Musica, meanwhile, on the Ultrasofts, pit window will open for him on lap 16 of this Grand Prix, and it will close on lap 18. Expected he will go on to a set of Hypersofts that will get him to the end of this race then. So for once, Austin, the Hypersoft looks like a good tyre.
Yeah, that is very unusual. Again, I think the only time this has ever happened was the Monaco Grand Prix, and even then they're quite iffy to a certain degree. So in Monaco, what happened is you could run a 2-stop hyper ultra, or you could run a 1-stop. I think it was hyper to super soft, but even that was pretty close. So Russia showing once again that it's probably the most tire-friendly circuit on the calendar as the drivers make their way onto the grid. I think we're gonna have to wait a long time for Sergey because he's quite a long way away, as he is still in turns 15 and 16 now, so he still has these 2 to go and then 2 more. It seems to be that he has some issues with the setup. He said that before in the chat. His setup apparently is random, completely randomized, which is definitely a huge disadvantage for him as the AI now takes his car over. He might not score any points at all. That is what I fear right now, and that will really throw him back in the championship if that is the case. But he is now on the grid as well, and we are getting ready for the start.
Well, here we are then for round number 16 here at the Russian Grand Prix. This is the Hype Energy AOR F3 League, and it's 5 red lights. Round 16 is underway, and what are the starts like? Looks like the Force India in the background there got a good start. That's Apex, but Pitmat has got away from Demon. Demon's going to take advantage of the slipstream. Now, can everyone keep it clean through turn 1? Yes, they do. Here we go now, heading down towards turn 2 now, and it's 3 wide, 3 abreast. Multiple cars back. That's a McLaren trying to go up the inside, going in towards turn 2 there. It looks like everybody's kept their noses clean for now, but as we fly through turn number 3, you see here Alex 20 trying to find a way past Francis there as we head now down towards turn 4, and that's Crow Nexus in 9th place there, trying to chase down Apex as we now head to...
There's a spin. That was a Force India. Ooh, Force India going really weird. I think Apex kind of lagged into some other drivers. That was really weird from my perspective there, but it seems like everyone's still clean. That was just a bit of a connection issue apparently. My God.
kept you on your toes there, Austin, but here's Francis riding on board with as he tries to chase down Demon now, as we now head through towards turn 11, then down towards turn 12 at the end of sector 2. Everyone is facing the right way, but both McLarens have dropped to the back of the grid. Meanwhile, Sergey and Giggs have climbed up to 13th and 14th respectively. Francis then still trying to chase down Demon, and Dan the Snake is running a little bit
Apex
behind.
Is out. Apex is out. I have no idea how that happened. It was in the braking to turn 13, and he lost his left front tire, and I didn't see any cut. It must have been a connection issue. He must have run into someone else, and he is out of the race already. That looked very, very spooky.
Yeah, I saw a tyre just fly off completely. Of course, the tyres on this car are all tethered as Jamie James makes a move on Elite Game Boy through turn 1. No DRS, of course. Let's have a look at the background there. That's Mike Tynus having to defend from Crow Nexus heading down towards turn 2. But Crow Nexus has to back out of the move as they headed through turn 2 there. No room for 2 cars as they now fly towards turn 3. Yeah, it was quite weird to just see a Hypersoft tyre there rolling across the track, because normally these tyres are tethered to the car so that they can't do that. So it must have been some impact that Apex had then. But as we look through the field then, Pitmat is leading from Demon Francis, Alex 20, Jamie James, Elite Game Boy, Mike Tynus, Crow Nexus, Dan the Snake, Louis, Alex Musica, Sergey, Giggs, Drez, The Roadhouse and Solid Ninja Snake with Apex, our only retirement so far.
Yes, and before the DRS era, usually that was about the moment where we could say, okay, that was the start, we can now breathe a little bit. It's not as stressful anymore, but DRS means that the overtaking at the next lap will become a lot easier. One more lap until the drivers get DRS for the first time on the back straight here, and it will only get wilder from there, I reckon. This is a track that always surprises with the amount of action you get here on the racetrack. So I think if we're an exciting race. We've gone 2 laps already that were very exciting. 25 more to go.
Well, Dan the Snake is now back up to P9. He didn't have a great start, as you can see there. DRS is enabled, so Dan the Snake really has to get on the money then as we now head through the DRS, and you can see how many people have the DRS open here as we now head down towards turn 2, and Francis picks up the first 3-second time penalty of the day. It will not be the last, I can tell you that, as that was a I think that was a, not sure which car that was, just running a little bit too deep going into turn 2, but you can see up ahead here, Mike Tynus having to defend from Crow Nexus once again, going through turn 4 there at the Williams there, managing to stay ahead for now, but you can see Mike Tynus here has a little bit of a train behind him, as that is Drez there trying to make a move on Giggs as they head through turn 5, now coming up towards turn 6. He's got the inside line. Does he have the racing line? Yes, he does, and gets ahead of Giggs then. The Haas is running in P12 and P13. Meanwhile, the Toro Rosso is running in P2 and in P9.
Yes, that would not be enough, however, to clinch the Constructors' title. That's 18 and then another 2, so 20 points only. They need at least 28 more than the Haas. The Haas are at 0 right now, so that's running for them, but Demon would have to get 1 more position, and Dan the Snake would have to get 1 more position. Then we're talking about 29. Then Sergey could even get 10th place, and it would still work out for them. But I'm thinking right now, what is going through Dan the Snake's mind? He's looking in front, he's seeing 2 cars that he probably thinks he's faster than, and he's looking back and he sees 4, 5, 6, 7 cars in a train behind him, and he's thinking, I really need to find a way through, and it's just not possible. Mike Tynus really good at defending. Crow Nexus has the DRS, so Dan really not with a good chance to make an overtake if the guy in front of you also has DRS and slipstream. Now maybe here, nah, Dan thinks better of it. Crow Nexus tries though, and there is maybe contact, and Dan slips through, as does Louis, and Louis gets 3 positions out of this. Oh, maybe 2. Let's see, they're side by side. Sergey also now into 9th place already. So maybe the setup has fixed itself for the race here. He's already gained 7 positions. Very good start here for Sergey. Good first 3.5 laps, up to 9th, and probably trying to hunt down some more positions and some more points.
Yeah, Crow Nexus just tagged the back of Mike Tynus' rear tyre there, sent him into a spin, and there was nowhere for Crow Nexus to go until Mike Tynus stopped the car, and they're both back at the back of the grid now. Here comes Dan the Snake, coming down towards turn 13. He's got Louis to the left-hand side of him, and quickly dispatches him now. Dan the Snake up to P7, making up for lost ground here, as he now makes his way towards turn 15 here. Making their way through, you can see that there's still those train of cars behind, involving Dan the Snake, Louis, Sergey, Alex Musica, Drez, Giggs in the Ferrari. You can see there Roadhouse, Solid Ninja Snake, and actually Crow Nexus and Mike Tynus have caught up to this train once again, as all that happened off stream. Demon has taken the lead, and now Pitmat is under pressure from Francis. And as we head down towards turn 2, Francis has the braking zone. Does he overshoots the corner? He won't have a good traction out of turn 2 there as we now fly through turn 3. And will he be affected by the dirty air then as we head now down towards turn 4? And it looks like he was a little bit affected by it as Francis holds on to P2. Pitmat loses the back end just so slightly, but not a good enough run to have a go at Francis once again. So he now drops to 3rd place as Alex 20 picks up a 3-second time penalty. The Mercedes here looking to try and find a way past once again, but look at that, Francis taking a much better line through turn 7 there, able to just get that 0.6 of a second buffer to try and get out of the slipstream. And that's a Williams of Alex Musica there, running very wide going into turn 7 there. Riding on board with Sergey as he's trying to chase down Louis here. This is for 8th place as we now head towards turn 10. We've got the DRS zone coming up, so Louis has to be careful then. Will he get the DRS off Dan the Snake? Yes, he will, but he won't have the slipstream. Not as good as Sergey has. And here he is then in the slipstream as we head through towards turn 12. Where's he going to go? He goes left, goes right, tries to go up the inside in towards turn 13. He's got the braking zone right. Very, very close together. And as he tries to go through turn 14, trying to cut back almost. As we now head towards turn 15, trying to go up the inside now. As the Red Bull leaves the half the room, now going through turn 16. They are side by side, wheel by wheel. And Louis there, I think, lost the back end as he's actually coming into the pits on lap number 6. So that is a little earlier than we expected. Lap 7 is when the pit window opens. So Louis is going to try and undercut here to just try and get himself out of the traffic.
Well, Louis is coming in at the end of lap 5 for him. It says 6 because the leader's already on lap 6, but for him, it's the end of lap 5 even, so 2 laps early in the pits. Mike Tynes coming in as well. I think for Mike Tynes, that's more about the front wing, maybe. No, he's not even changing the front wing, so there was not any damage sustained as Mike Tynes is going on the intermediates. I'm pretty sure he made a big mistake there.
Yeah, absolutely.
That is unfortunate. The sky is clear. I have no idea what happened there, but that is very, very unfortunate. Louis, meanwhile, going on to the softs, not the ultra softs, but the softs, the hardest compound. So I think what he's thinking right now is, okay, these tires are just done. As Sergey has left the session, what happened there? He's in the AI car. He disconnected, apparently. Yeah,
Alex 20 trying to battle away here with Pitmat. We'll get back to Sergey very shortly as they're going 3 wide now, going through turn 13. There's contact between the Ferrari and the Sauber. The Sauber's going straight on there. And Alex 20 gets a 5-second stop-go penalty for cutting the track. I think that was very harsh there. And, well, involving those 3 there, Pitmat, Jamie James and the Sauber there. And the 2 of them got away, and Alex 20 came off the worst there going through turn 13 as now everybody is trying to come into the pits. Now something occurred with Sergey there because there's a bit of front wing missing. He did start to drop down the field. There were a load of position changes in that midfield, and I wonder if something happened there. Maybe Sergey met the wall and it's meant that he's lost his front wing and now has left the session. So at the moment he's not scoring any points whatsoever, not only for himself but not for Haas either.
Yeah, it feels like this might have actually been a rage quit from Sergey here. Lost the front wing because of some incident that we haven't seen and decided to just call it quits for today. Let the AI run the rest of the race and just, you know, maybe do something that he enjoys more, as his AI car is now in the pits with the front wing change. Going on to the Hypersoft again. Interesting. Wow, it's an AI car anyway, so probably not much for us to worry about there, as he will not score any points today. Very, very unfortunate, which also means if you look at the standings right now, how in the world did Dan the Snake end up in 3rd place already? Where did he get that?
Well, so much drama was happening. I guess he just made those moves under the radar. Of course, you had the collision there with the Mercedes of Pitmat. Obviously, he's pitted in, and of course, Dan the Snake hasn't. So he's now up to P3, and this is when we're expecting the pit window to have opened, lap number 7. And does Demon come into the box? No, he doesn't. He stays out for another lap, as does Francis there. Of course, they have to commit very early to the pit lane line. As you can see there, the opening comes up, and Dan the Snake is in this lap then. So Dan the Snake Snake is in. Elite Game Boy stays out. Giggs stays out as well as Alex Musica and Drez stay out. Obviously there, Giggs, Alex Musica and Drez are all on the ultra soft tyres, so we're not expecting them in until at least lap 17 in this Grand Prix. Lots of battles happening, very difficult to keep up with everything. And well, Louis here on those soft tyres, as you were mentioning earlier on, Austin, trying to close in on Jamie James. Battle for 7th place at the moment going on here. There's also a battle for 4th place there involving Giggs, Alex Musica and Drez. Drez has got a good run going through turn 2 as they head now through turn 3, and this is where that dirty air might affect you here. Going through such a high-speed corner, using all of that aero, the last thing you want is dirty air going through that corner. And at the exit of turn 4, we're seeing a move there from Solid Ninja Snake on Chrome Nexus, and Solid Ninja Snake was just able to defend there from the Mercedes going into turn 4, and the McLaren is in front of him still as Louis picks up a 3-second time penalty there. Drez, meanwhile, still on the back of the Williams here as we head through 8 and 9, not really an overtaking opportunity. And then with turn 10, well, you can try and overtake, but you've got the DRS detection point just there. So you really want to set yourself up for the move, and that is a move happening as Solid Ninja Snake trying to attack Chrome Nexus, and he has done this time. And he's still kept that position away from the Mercedes driver. He's doing a fantastic job there of defending. But all that's doing is allowing Roadhouse to just get away as we now head through turn 12 into the braking zone of turn 13. A little bit of a lock-up from the McLaren there. Might compromise him going through 14.
Demon and Francis come into the pits. Both leaders, Demon and Francis, now into the pits. Elite Game Boy as well. Obviously, the Ultra Soft runners stay out, so Giggs will assume the lead. Roadhouse coming in, so Ninja Snake therefore has to stay out. Nexus decides to stay out on the other hand, so he wants to go a little longer to maybe get the overtake on Solid Ninja Snake done on the road instead of in the pits. And
one move for the lead.
DRS.
Alex Musica trying to make a move on Giggs there. Giggs, the fan favourite as it seems in the chat, was leading the race, but they're now battling as we head through turn 3 now. The long left-hander. You've got Drez there, so close to the back of them, but Alex Musica has taken over the lead of this race. Of course, those three are on the ultra soft tyres. I wonder if there's some sort of communication between them saying, let's not battle, let's work together here to try and outrun those on the ultra soft tyres right now.
There could very well be. Meanwhile, Chrome Nexus also with an overtake on Solid Ninja Snake into turn 2. Took the outside and held it around there and then had the inside for turn 3, obviously. And got the move done, made it stick. And now he's driving away from Solid Ninja Snake. I expect both of these drivers, Chrome Nexus and Solid Ninja Snake, to come into the pits at the end of this lap, which isn't that much longer, about 30 seconds. Until they end up there, even less, probably 20 seconds. So we will have all the Hypersoft runners having dispatched of their starting tires at the end of this lap, as Chrome Nexus with a slide there just before turn 15. My god, he held it there, but yeah, he is moving over to the right side, and Solid Ninja Snake stays out. Oh, that is surprising. He wants to take these Hypersofts a long way, and Cronex is picking up a penalty. Very, very unfortunate there. 5 seconds, but yeah, so Ninja Snake, really surprising that he decides to stay out even longer. 10 laps now, at the very least, if he comes in at the end of this one.
Battle for the lead then as they make their way through turn 3. Alex Musica leading from Drez, Giggs, Solid Ninja Snake, Demon there in P5. Of course, he's on a fresh set of tyres then. There's a battle for P6 happening here as they now head through turn 3. That's Francis trying to go round the outside of pit mat on those fresh tyres, and he's made the move happen. Great move from Francis. He set that up in towards turn 2, and a great move from Francis to put himself now up to P6. Pit mat there. Tried to make the undercut work, and it really hasn't worked this time around. Francis on those much fresher tyres is able to make the move up towards P6. 1.9 now behind Demon, and at the moment Demon here feels like he's in control. Of course, he's got 4 cars ahead of them that are yet to pit in this race, and of course with Alex Musica and Drez battling for the lead of the race at the moment, all that's going to do is help Demon to catch them and pass them easily in the pit stop phases.
Yeah, what I was very surprised to see here was that Pit Matt on the straight between turns 4 and 5 was starting to weave to the left, to the right, to the left. He was weaving around. Maybe he's got some issues getting temperature into his tires, which is a little bit surprising to me because the Ultrasofts generally should have no problem here to get some temperature into them, but maybe he does have some issues with it, and that's why it looked so easy for Francis to overtake him. As we have another overtake, Drez now taking the lead from Alex Musica. They are really going at it at the top. But don't forget, once again, all these three drivers, the Soul Ninja Snake, now the final Hypersoft runner into the pits. All these three drivers, Drez, Alex Musica, and Giggs, still have to come into the pits to get rid of their Ultrasoft, and I would give it a 99% chance that they will put on the Hypersofts.
You heard it here first, 99% chance there is Francis, according to our telemetry, getting ahead of Pitmat, but I think that happened earlier on. But on lap number 11, well over a third of the way into this race, Drez leads from Alex Musica and Giggs. That's your top three so far, but the top three have yet to stop.
Yes, and the top three in the virtual standings, if you will. Demon, Francis, and Pitmat right now. Dan the Snake in fourth. Dan the Snake 5.5 seconds behind Pitmat. I'm pretty sure he's looking to close that gap more and more and more. He is on 1 lap fresher Ultrasofts, which isn't that much of a deal. It's pretty much a non-existent advantage, but maybe towards the end of the race he might have a slight advantage there. Right now, these tires are in pretty much the same condition, where 1 lap really doesn't matter too much if you can just keep it consistent. And both these drivers, Matt and Dan the Snake, I mean, they are 3rd and 4th in the championship for a reason. They know how to keep it consistent.
Interestingly, Austin, I'm pretty sure you know this, but in every iteration of the Russian Grand Prix, as far back in dating in the 1910s, every single one has been won by Mercedes in real life. Here we see a McLaren here of the Roadhouse trying to close in on Louis here as we head now down towards turn 1, and the Roadhouse with the DRS turning into turn 2. He's got the move done, and on those Ultrasoft tyres, just a little bit more grip there, but you can see Louis now trying to have a look up the inside, going in towards turn 3 now, as he's got the inside line, heading in towards turn 4. He's going to have the outside line. Roadhouse will try and commit to the inside, and Drez is out of the race.
Drez is out.
Drez is out. He's crashed out. Going through turns 8 and 9, he's hit the wall and hard as well. And Drez becomes the second retirement of this race. And as it stands, then Haas are scoring 0 points whatsoever. This constructors title is entirely now in Toro Rosso's hands. All they've got to do is score the points.
Yeah, and I'm looking if someone maybe unfortunately runs into Drez's car. I mean, it should be ghosted. It is gone now. Okay, so no danger there anymore. My god, that was a very, very dangerous position. I'm surprised we don't see a safety car for this, because the way the car was parked there, my god, it is so easy to run into him there. But everyone was able to avoid him. The yellow flags worked very well here. But yeah, it is all they need, all Toro Rosso needs is 28 points now. Sergey disconnected, Drez out of the race. All they need to clinch the constructors title is 28 points. That is the magic number for Toro Rosso here today. Right now, they don't have it. However, Alex Musica and Giggs still have to come into the pits. If Demon keeps the virtual lead, and Dan the Snake, all he needs is 8th place, and he's definitely there right now. As Demon gets a move done on Giggs on track, he doesn't even need to wait until Giggs and Alex Musica go into the pits. He gets Giggs on the track, up into 2nd, and Giggs now losing another position, sliding.
Wow, oh, he's lost it again into the wall, and straight across the track to collect the Mercedes of Pitmat. Oh my goodness. Oh, that was so unfortunate for Pitmat. He had nowhere to go, and Giggs there has a huge amount of front wing damage. He tried to catch the slide, and he just went straight into the wall. No chance of Pitmat avoiding that one. What a huge shame for Pitmat.
Yeah, very, very unfortunate. There was nothing he could do. He was just a passenger there. No chance to avoid the spinning Giggs on the track there. So unfortunate. He is gonna be very, very angry, I am sure. And Giggs is gonna have to limp back to the pits as Alex Musica gets a 3-second time penalty. And the penalties are going to be very, very important here. On every other track, you get penalties. Here in Russia, penalties get you.
There it is. That's what we wanted. Here goes Demon around the outside of Alex Musica, and on those fresh tyres, he's already made the stop. Of course, Alex Musica trying to have a look up the inside then as we head down towards turn 4. That wasn't in Demon's script, but you know what is? Getting the lead race here through turn 4, and he's got ahead of Alex Musica. But knowing Alex Musica, he's not going to give up on that position for sure.
Yeah, he's going to try to hold on to this position for as long as possible, even though maybe it would be the smarter move to just let the other drivers go and just run your own race. But hey, we know Alex Musica, he's a racer, and he's not letting go. He's in hot lap mode right now on the ERS, and he's not changing. I don't know if he has some technical issue, but his ERS is pretty much completely depleted right now, under 10%, which under 10%, for those that don't know, it enters kind of an energy saving mode. So even if you're in hot lap mode, oh, now he's down to none. Okay, so apparently not an issue, or maybe he had an issue and it's now resolved. But if the ERS ever drops under 10% as Francis gets through, oh, Alex really fights it. But around the outside, yeah, these are the ultra soft tires. I think he comes in. No, he stays out. Oh, he does come in.
He does come in, and he committed after the white line there. He might be penalised for that one, but as he comes in, he wasn't. So yeah, that's that done then. So Alex Musica comes in, and that was maybe a lap or 2 laps earlier than expected then for Alex Musica. So I wonder if he's going to go. No, he goes on to hypersoft tyres in the pit lane then. So he will rejoin and try and get 11 laps out of those tyres. That's well, entirely possible. But he's going to struggle towards the end of that stint.
Yeah, and I think we have to come back now that all 3 drivers that were starting on the Ultrasofts are either out of the race or have pitted. We have to come back to the magical number being 28, because right now Demon and Dan the Snake, 40 points. If they keep it the way it is right now, they clinch the Constructors' title, and Toro Rosso wins the title here at Russia already, with 5 races after this one here still to go. That is very, very early.
Well, of course, 2 championship contenders being on the same team is going to help that total leaps and bounds. And I wonder if they're going to work together for this one and then fully attack each other for the last 5 races. They've got nothing to lose now. They've already secured the Constructors' title, but of course they both want that Drivers' title. Are we going to see some Mercedes level of rivalry towards the end of a 2015 season, maybe?
I'm hoping at this point that the Constructors' title is pretty much clinched. I think you should just give it, just let him race, let him fight. I mean, they can't lose the Constructors' title even if they crash out. All they can do is mess up each other's drivers' championship hopes. But I mean, that's their responsibility, not the teams, you know. So with one title in the bag, you can drive a lot freer, a lot more free. You know, you don't have to worry about this one because you got it already in the bag. It's done. Now you can throw the kitchen sink at it, fight hammer and tongue, and just see who comes out on top.
Absolutely, it's not in the bag yet though. Here comes Alex Musica, trying to go round the outside of turn 3, and now he's got the inside line for turn 4. He turns in, and so much more grip on those hypersoft tyres there as Alex Musica takes 8th place away from Cronexus as they now head towards turn 5. Lap 16 of this Grand Prix. It's Demon in the lead, followed by Francis, Dan the Snake, Jamie James, Elite Game Boy, Roadhouse, Louis, Alex Musica, Cronexus, Alex 20, Solid Ninja Snake, Giggs, Mike Tynus, and Sergey, who is running around as a ghost car, disconnected. He will not be classified in the final results.
Indeed, and for Alex Musica, who is the only hypersoft runner in the field right now, the most important thing is to gain positions as quickly as possible. No time to waste, as he is gaining and gaining on Louis on the old soft. So a huge difference here in tire quality, in grip, in tire wear. He needs to make the move ideally in the next lap, lap 17, as the leaders have already come through. So in lap 17, he needs to make that move on Louis. He's within the DRS range already. At the detection point, yes, he does get it. So that was very quick. He was 2.5 seconds behind just half a lap ago. He gained 2 seconds pretty much over the course of half a lap. That is the difference of these tires right now. He needs to dispatch of Louis quickly.
Here we go then through turn 3 on those Hypersoft tyres. Of course, 2 laps old right now, and Louis running on 11 lap old soft tyres, and he locks up going into turn 4. That's an open opportunity for Alex Musica. We know what the racer he is. He's not going to pass up on that opportunity as we head towards turn 5. Louis breaks early there, and Alex Musica takes 7th place away from him. He's charging up the field now.
Yeah, and you can see the difference in the tires on the braking as well. Louis was braking at the right spot for his tires. Alex was braking at the right spot for his tires. And you saw the difference right there on your screen.
Fantastic stuff from Alex Musica. It puts him up to 7th place. And Demon here is coming towards the final corner. He'll cross the line here. 10 laps to go here at the Russian Grand Prix. As it stands, we will be crowning Constructors Champions at the end of this race. But there's still 10 laps to go. There's still 50 kilometers of this race to go. Anything can happen in this one.
Well, it's almost 60 kilometers, in fact, as the Russian Grand Prix is the 4th longest track on the calendar. So that's why we only have 27 laps. Most of the races on the calendar, we have at least 30 laps. Here, only 27, the 4th longest track. So, yeah, it is only 10 laps, but almost 60 kilometers left to go for these drivers.
Here comes Cronexus now as we head down towards turn 2. He might be Louis' next victim. Up the inside he goes. Louis trying to cut back there, but he picks up a 3-second time penalty, and he is struggling on these soft tyres. Now they're not giving him the grip or the braking distances that he needs to defend properly, and he now drops down to 9th place.
Yes, but these soft tires should come back towards the end of the race when all the ultra softs are getting worse and worse. The softs are very, very durable. The issue, it seems to me, that Louis has right now is that he's struggling with grip. So I think he is not able to get these soft tires on temperature. They're too cold, I think. Even though they're 12 laps old, but I think they might be too cold for him right now. As you can see him struggle out of that turn 10 right there, out of that right-hander. He almost had another slide there. So it's really an issue. He needs to get these tires on temperature if he wants to have a chance at maybe gaining some positions in the latter stages of the race. Because again, the ultra softs are going to wear out faster than his softs. Even though Cronex's tires are 4 laps fresher, but they're also softer, so they will wear out faster.
I wonder if Louis can actually keep in the DRS zone of Cronexus here. Of course, the detection point is before turn 1. We'll have to wait and see how that goes. How is the exit for Louis? He's losing a bit of ground, but there's the white line there.
And Alex Musica going on Roadhouse into turn 2 around the outside, and he makes the move stick very easily. This is how quickly Alex Musica is gaining right now. He took out pretty much 3 seconds of a gap within 1 lap out of the Roadhouse. That is remarkable pace right now from Alex Musica. These tires, he makes them work to perfection. Let's look at the lap times. For Alex Musica, last lap 134.1. For Roadhouse, 136.0. That's 2 seconds right there. And then with the DRS, he got another second pretty much out of it. A good exit out of the last corner, and on the straight with the DRS, he got another second almost out of it, and he is through already. That is just incredible to watch. And he is charging up the field even further. Now it's 7 seconds, though, to Elite Game Boy, and that is quite a distance. But 5th place, I think, if he keeps up his pace of low 134s, is definitely within reach.
Well, it's going to be a challenge, though, to keep those tyres in check for that long in this race. And he will start to feel those the worst part of those tyres towards the end of that stint. Of course, he pitted early. He pitted on lap 14, I believe, or 14. Yeah, lap 14 he pitted, and the pit window for the Ultrasofts was lap 16. So he did pit 2 laps earlier than maybe was expected or scheduled. So maybe round about lap 25, those tyres could be worse rather than better for sure.
That is definitely a possibility, but I think we might see everyone struggle at that point, and it's really just a question of who was able to keep the tire wear low during the stint the best. And maybe that was part of the calculation for Alex. Maybe he was testing the Hypersoft, looking at the strategy from the beginning and saying, you know what, with little fuel, I mean, he's on low fuel, everyone's on low fuel now, we're towards the end of the race. With low fuel, I can make these tires last a little bit longer than expected. So 13 laps should not be an issue for me. Maybe that's what was going through his mind there when he made that decision. So I wouldn't count him out just yet, but he is not gaining as much on Elite Game Boy as he was on the Roadhouse. So I think he might have hit a ceiling there. 6.8. It was 7.1 a lap ago, so not gaining that much. Last lap for Alex Musica was a 35.1, so he lost a second to his own pace there. So it seems like he's already dropping off a little. Maybe it's the concentration, maybe it's just him trying to get it, you know, trying to bring home 6th place as he picked up a penalty, but also picked up his pace a little again. 34.5, so another 0.6. I don't know. Maybe he had a bad moment last lap that gave him that 35.1, that 1 second down. We'll see. Down to 5.8 now, so he is closing in still. He needs to keep it consistent though. No mistakes from here on out, and he might have a shot at 5th place, maybe last lap or two laps before the end.
Watch out for this for 7th place between Cronexus and the Roadhouse here. Currently the gap is 1.3 seconds, and it goes up and it comes down again, so it is a battle to watch as these two make their way towards turn number 7, as they make their way towards now the double left-hander. Let's see how the Roadhouse takes it. Actually drops a gear now, and that's what happens when these tyres get worn. You have to drop a gear, maybe even 2, to make some of the corners around this track, and especially if you're trying to run a much lower drag setup, you run the risk of not making those corners last as much. And Mike Tyner is actually into the pits there from P13, and he's put on a new set of Hypersoft tyres, maybe trying to go for the fastest lap of the race. No extra points in it, but there is the pride of saying you did get the fastest lap. I was denied that opportunity once by a single 1/10 of a second, which was heartbreaking.
Yeah, definitely, but you don't get any points for it. It's really just the pride and some bragging rights, but yeah, you don't get any points for it. And but still, it's a nice thing to have, especially if you're not able to go for any points. I mean, Mike Tyne is 44 seconds behind 12th, and 12th's not even the points. And then we're talking about another 17 seconds, so pretty much a minute behind 10th place. Yeah, no chance he's gonna get any points unless 3 people drop out of the race. So yeah, why not go for a fastest lap, see what could have been.
Well, Demon leading then on lap number 22. Francis is in 2nd, Dan the Snake in 3rd, Jamie James 4th, Elite Game Boy in 6th, Alex Musica in 6th, at Roadhouse in 7th, Cronexus in 8th, Louis in 9th, Alex 20 in 10th, Solid Ninja Snake in 11th, Gigs in 12th, Mike Tyner's 13th, 14th place Sergey, but he is disconnected, so he will not be classified. And our other retirements, Pitmat, Drez and Apex retiring from the Russian Grand Prix.
Yeah, I'm looking right now to see if there's any big fights maybe going on. Cronexus probably with Roadhouse is the closest we have right now. Everything else seems mostly so. Alex Musica now 4 seconds short of Elite Game Boy. So again, he's still gaining and gaining and gaining, but he's gonna have to make quick work here, as it's only 5 laps left for him. So he needs to gain 0.8 of a second to have a shot in the final lap. And again, remember, the tires are wearing a lot faster than the Ultrasofts are right now. Last lap for him though was a 34.6, so it seems like he found his pace a little, dropped off a little from the low 34s, but mid 34s are still good to gain a bit on Elite Game Boy. Maybe it's time now to look at the penalties, because as I said before, penalties here are a very, very big issue a lot of these corners have low curves, which you can easily cut if you misjudge them by a bit. And track extension, obviously, as well, because on the exit, the curves are just as low. And let's see, Demon has 1 penalty. Francis has 4 penalties. My goodness. Dan the Snake, not a single warning, let alone a penalty. That is remarkable on this track. Jamie James, 2 warnings, no penalty. Keeps it clean so far. Elite Game Boy has 1 penalty. Yes, he has. Alex Musica, make that 2 and 2 warnings. Roadhouse, 1 penalty. And Pro Nexus, none. 2 warnings, and that's it.
Well, Crow Nexus, speaking of, is making his way now through turn 12, now coming down towards turn 13, locking up the tyres a little bit, but he is gaining on the Roadhouse, and if he times it right, he could be in that DRS zone, losing the back end going through turn 14. Tricky corner is turn 14, very easy to spin up the rear tyres, very easy to do. I know that from experience, as we now head towards turn 17 and towards turn 18. And the thing about the Russian Grand Prix is there's a real lack of elevation changes. It is, by all accounts, on a pretty flat piece of surface. So, rightly so, because it's right next to the Black Sea, really. So you kind of expect that. But yeah, no real elevation changes. Maybe a crest or 2 here as we head down towards turn 2, but a relatively flat track. So does that make that easier or harder for the drivers, I wonder?
For me personally, it always made it easier because you don't have to worry about the car being lifted up if you go over some kind of crest, maybe. Here, it's really more about getting the corners right and maximizing the entry, maximizing the exit, and the big challenge here really is the track limits. That is what the drivers have to watch out for. Makes it easier to focus though if the track is as flat as it is right here. That way you don't have to worry, like for example, about a corner like Eau Rouge, where you really have to be focused and on your A game. And remember, in Radillon and at the crest at the very top of that corner in Belgium. You can really feel the car being lifted up and you losing all the grip you have on your rear tires, which means it's so easy to slide and spin and crash. I mean, we've seen it in real Formula 1 quite a bit, but even in the virtual one here, it is very easy to spin.
Francis has left the session. What's happened to Francis here? Because now he's lost this position to Dan the Snake, and it now becomes a Toro Rosso 1-2. Well, Dan the Snake has been one very, very lucky man today. He's seen all the carnage unfold in front of him here, and now Francis disconnecting is the latest one. That's actually going to promote Jamie James up towards the podium positions. Now, Francis has got to try and get back as quickly as he possibly can with 3 laps to go. And the Roadhouse and Crow Nexus here, meanwhile, are battling away for 7th place. Watch out for Alex Musica as well. 1.4 behind Elite Game Boy. He has just picked up a 3-second time penalty. He does have a couple of those at least on those penalties. But now Elite Game Boy now catching Francis by quite a margin per mini sector. Not even per sector, per mini sector out on the track there. Meanwhile, the Roadhouse and Crow Nexus still battling away then through the DRS zone. Riding on board with Crow Nexus as he makes his way towards turn 12. He looks to the left-hand side as the McLaren there tries to defend the inside line. The Mercedes trying to go around the outside. It becomes the inside for turn 14. Has he got the move done? Yes, he has. Crow Nexus up to 7th place. Really good move, that one. Used a bit of racecraft there to take the outside line for turn 13, which gave him the inside line for turn 14. Focused then on his exit as Francis, his AI controlled car, has taken him into the pit lane, so he's going to lose out on even more positions here. So Elite Game Boy up to 4th, Alex Musica now up to 5th place, Crow Nexus up to 6th, Roadhouse in 7th. That's going to promote Louis up to 8th, Alex 20 up to 9th. And after all that, for Francis, he's seeing his perfect race here in 2nd place go all the way backwards as the Roadhouse there overshot turn 2 as he tried to attack Crow Nexus once again, and he's lost all that time now as Francis there, if he does rejoin the session, will be mightily displeased with this.
Yeah, he might not even get a single point because he's got 4 penalties. Don't forget that. And Solid Ninja Snake only has 1. So that is really, really tough. That means 9 seconds, and Solid Ninja Snake is already within 9 seconds of Francis, and he's only going to gain more. So I think Solid Ninja Snake, maybe he doesn't even know it, but he will get a point here if he just keeps it on track and doesn't lose anytime, doesn't get a spin or anything. Oh, that is so unlucky for Francis. I really feel for him right now. My God. That is the worst that could have happened to you.
Well, Dan the Snake made a mistake into turn 13, and he's right now under the pressure of Jammy James. Demon then starts the final lap of the Russian Grand Prix. We've got to watch out for Chrome Nexus and the Roadhouse then. Dan the Snake and Jammy James fighting for position. Jammy James here might be able to take a second place here. He's right into the slipstream now with the DRS open. Goes to the right hand side of the track as they now make their way down towards turn 2, and well before the braking zone, Jammy James takes second place away from Dan the Snake. And in the Drivers' Championship battle, that's going to be a big mark there left on Dan the Snake's car. And the Constructors, maybe not so much. But the Toro Rossos just have to get to the checkered flag now as Elite Game Boy picks up a time penalty. Alex Music quite didn't have the momentum there to really challenge Elite Game Boy towards the end of this race. That was a real shame. Demon then making his way through the double left-hander as he makes his way now towards turn 10. Chrome Nexus and the Roadhouse battling as they head towards turn 4. And the Roadhouse not giving up on this battle, not giving up on that battle for 6th place. Jammy James meanwhile trying to get away from Dan the Snake now as they now make their way towards turn 10. And Demon now making his way into the final sector for the final time, making his way now towards turn 14 there. You can see the Williams, and that is Louis there in trouble. What's happened to Louis? Well, I'm not entirely sure. The yellow flags came out and I saw Louis drop a position, so I thought something might have happened to him. But Demon then coming around the final 2 corners for the final time. This is one half of the job done for Toro Rosso. Demon comes across the line to win the Russian Grand Prix. Fantastic drive from Demon there. Front row of the grid. And the win today. Jammy James then making his way around the final 2 corners. Will he be able to keep that second place? Then he crosses the line. Second on track. And no, Dan the Snake jumps him at the final turn due to penalties. And that is confirmed then. Toro Rosso are the Constructors' Champions for AOR Hype Energy F3 League, season number 16. Congratulations to the Italian team. Elite Game Boy Day coming across the line, 4th place. Chrome Nexus in 5th, with Alex Musica in 6th. The Roadhouse just pipping. Louis loses the back end there as he comes across the line. Luckily, he is classified as 8th place there. Alex 20 in 9th as Francis there as an AI car finishes now outside of the points. The Solid Ninja Snake picks up those final points there. VSR Francis now down to 11th place, so even if he did rejoin, he would not be scoring points. Gigs there finishing in 12th place as Sergey's Ghost car takes the checkered flag. Obviously, he won't be classified. And the last of the runners then, Mike Tynus. Demon actually backed off from the line, and Mike Tynus overtook him. So that was a really interesting one. But
yeah, I think I don't know what Dan was, what Demon was trying to do there, but he gave Mike Tynus one more lap to drive. As Mike Tynus now going, maybe one more lap to get the fastest lap. I don't know. Maybe that's what happened here, but Mike Tynus now making it across the line and spinning around, losing some of his front wing. 13th place for him. But that is not only the Constructors' title for Toro Rosso, it is also a British 1, 2, 3, a whole British podium here at the Russian Grand Prix.
Well, Demon extends his lead at the top of the table. He extends the lead by quite some margin too. And Sergey and Dan have a lot to do to try and catch him in the last 5 races of the season. But Demon there, not quite pole position, but I tell you what, he gave it a good effort there. And with Pit Mac crashing out in a bizarre incident, not being able to finish the race then. It's a Toro Rosso 1-2, and it secures them the Constructors' Championship for F3 season number 16. Your official, unofficial results then. Demon takes the win from Dan the Snake. Jamie James in 3rd place. Elite Game Boy in 4th. Crow Nexus in 5th. Alex Musica in 6th. Roadhouse in 7th, with Louis finishing in 8th. Alex 20 in 9th. Solid Ninja Snake rounding off the top 10. Francis there disconnected. He's classified as 11th. Gigs in 12th. Mike Turner's 13th. Disconnection for Sergey in 14th, with Pitmat, Drez and Apex not finishing the Russian Grand Prix. So then, Constructors champions with 5 races to go. For Demon and Dan the Snake, it's now 5 race sprint to see who will become the Drivers' champion.
Yeah, I'm making the calculations right now to see what the championship looks like, and it's not looking good for Dan, Sergey, or Pipmat, by the way, as well. Dan now 27 points behind Demon. That's a whole race win and then another 2 points. Sergey stays at 206, so he is 38 points behind Demon. Demon has a huge gap right now after this race. Absolutely incredible. And then Pipmat now 96 points behind Demon, which means if Demon outscores Pipmat by 4 points in the next race, Pipmat is basically eliminated from the championship race. Apex, by the way, is the last one who is still in the championship race mathematically, theoretically. 124 points behind Demon. 5 races left, 125 points at stake for the winner if you get it 5 times in a row. So he could still make it, but he's pretty much out of it, as is Pipmat. Very, very unfortunate race for him. But I think we got to talk about what happened with the everyone pretty much from P1 on the grid. Pipmat on pole position, and then 3rd, 4th, 5th, Elite Game Boy in 6th. I don't know what happened to him, but he lost a couple of positions as well. So unfortunate. Everyone between Demon and Dan the Snake, very unfortunate. Apex with connection issues. Francis losing connection right at the end, and then his ghost car going into the pits 2 laps before the end. Alex with the crash. Pipmat with the crash when he couldn't do anything. So unfortunate, so unlucky. And it helps Toro Rosso win the Constructors title already after 16 of the 20 run rounds here at the Russian Grand Prix.
And of course, it builds it up nicely for the next race. Of course, we have a week's break. So on the 17th, there is no race. We return to the commentary box for the Japanese Grand Prix on the 24th of February. You can join us then from 8 PM GMT live on the AOR channel. Well, Austin, it's been quite a dramatic Russian Grand Prix. We saw crashes, we saw disconnections, and most importantly, we've seen the Constructors' crown for this season.
Yes, indeed. It was an extraordinary race, and as I said, the penalties did kind of decide it a little bit. Demon obviously drove away with it, but they did decide the order between 2nd and 3rd place, with the Dan the Snake jumping Jamie James on penalties, and they mixed the field through quite a bit. It shouldn't be that way in Japan. A lot less penalties will be dished out there, I reckon. But yeah, we will be back in 2 weeks. And Kieran, it was a pleasure casting with you as always.
As always, the same with you, Austin. It's always a lot of fun commentating with you. And we hope you'll join us again on the 24th of February when we return for the Japanese Grand Prix. Until then, thank you for watching. I've been Kieran McGinley.
And I'm Austin Smith.
Take care of yourselves, and we will see you next time.